So we are all born into this magnificent world with different karmas, with different traits and characteristics that make us good at certain things and not so great at others. However, there is one great equalizer that we all have access to, and that is the mind. The mind is not so much a physical attribute as mental. And that is something that we can train. It can be programmed. It can be conditioned. And in fact, it has been conditioned, not always to your benefit, conditioned by society, conditioned by the government, schools, all these institutions that want your energy. They want you to be a certain way and behave a certain way. And if you are aware of what I'm saying and you become conscious of your body and of your thoughts, then you have access to this. And the beauty of it is, it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, your background, where you come from. We all have access to this incredible, powerful gift, this tool, right? And the other thing is the mind is always running. You are running programs, mental programs that manifest themselves into the life you're living right now. So everything you have, everything you see is a result of the mental patterns, the mental behaviors that you've been repeating. And that can always change, right? If we want more clarity, more peace, more money, more abundance, more love, right? It all comes back to the mind and into reprogramming the mind to make it work for you, to make it be your greatest asset, right? Think of your mind as an investment, as a plot of land, a soil that you can plant certain seeds. And if you want your life to change, if you know there are things you would like to do, qualities you would like to develop in yourself, go to the mind. You go to the deepest layer, right? You don't try to change the mirror. You don't get upset at the mirror for not changing. You go within. And that is to the mind. That is to the core of who we are beneath these physical avatars. Because everything that is expressed as to who I am first comes from the mind. The mind is the source. So whenever you want to change a quality about yourself, as you're developing a calm, equanimous mind, calm, equanimous life, an abundant life, whatever that is for you, you first go to the mind. You go within and you connect to that source. You connect to that power that exists within you. First by literally sitting down and observing your breath and following that breath and working either with a candle or a mantra or whatever that is for you that grounds you, that brings you back to this moment and allows you to start to see reality for what it is. Not what you would want it to be, but what it is. This is the tricky part of the mind. It can trick you with the ego. It can trick you into thinking what you're thinking is how things are. And the beauty, the power, and the medicine of meditation is it starts to help you see things as they are, not as you would want them to be. The moment you tap into that deeper reality, that deeper truth, and you observe your thoughts, you observe the patterns of mind that you've been running, you observe the programs you've been running, you get a whole new perspective on your life, a perspective on what's happening in your mind, so that you can slowly, gracefully start to shift that and mold a new picture within yourself. This is a new or a different, or a deeper dimension of being, where again it goes inner, right? And it's less things that you can see, but it's you go into the unseen part of who we are. Because the unseen eventually shapes the seen. A seed must first go underground, it must disappear, go into the darkness, go into the void where you can't see it, and you've got to trust that by watering it every day, by giving it sunlight, that seed takes root. If it's a healthy seed, if it's a living seed, it will take root. And all those seeds that you start to plant will take root if you give them time, if you give them space to find their place, find the roots, and they will sprout. And you will see your life begins to change. It is changing, right? It's always in a flow of evolution. The thing is, for most of us, we keep running the same programs, the same patterns. So if you're not seeing a change in your life, if you still feel anxious, if you still feel stress, if you still feel heavy emotions, that means you've been running the same program. But the moment you start to change, the moment you watch videos like this, the moment you sit, the moment you have a different thought, in the unseen, everything starts working and changing, right? And this is how you develop your mind into your greatest asset. Because it is the foundation, right? Everything else comes on top of that. So all the success, all the achievements, all the skills that you develop are literally above ground to the mind that you have. And if you're not getting the results you want, it's time to go back into the mind, into the unseen, and go from there, work from there, right? A calm, equanimous, quiet mind is your greatest asset. That becomes the foundation of your life. And when you can calm the mind, calm the thoughts, all of a sudden you're able to see and hear so much more. That's always been there. Have you realized people with really busy and crazy minds, they're always either talking or, filling silence or needing to have some kind of stimulation happening. There's no real space to allow life to happen, right? But then you see people who have trained their minds, and they often say the quietest person in the room is usually the smartest, the strongest, the most intelligent. Not because they're trying to be flashy and show off, but because you have this calm, quiet confidence. You're aware, you're perceptive, you're far more able to make an impact with that silence, right? It's being in the flow, because you quiet down your ego, you quiet down the I, and you begin to see that life is alive all around you. And from this place, it's much easier to respond, right? When the mind is busy and full of chatter, you react. Something happens and you react. When you can bring your mind to a calm, quiet state, something happens and you don't react. You can respond, right? You see the energy coming and you're able to play with it. And that's when life really starts to become a whole different game for you. And you train yourself day in and day out to be equanimous and to see things for what they are. This is all impermanence, right? It's all changing, always changing. Your mind is always changing. Your body is always changing. And when you become aware of this reality, this law of nature, you're less likely to suffer, and you're less likely to attach to a certain outcome, because you realize it's always changing. So you become your own best friend. You become your best tool, your best source of inspiration, motivation, and understanding that life isn't how you want it to be. Life is how it is. And we're all here trying to make sense of it. Tools like meditation, awareness, they train you and your mind to be more here, to be more present, to be more aware of what's happening, so that you don't get blindsided and so that you're not suffering because things are always changing. A calm mind, a calm, quiet mind will always be your greatest asset. The more calm and equanimous you can get your mind to be, the more you will hear things as they are, the more you will hear and see the truth of life, the truth of reality. And from that awareness, from that clarity, you will flow, my friend. You are going to flow with life. And you're not resisting life, trying to control it. You flow, right? And you dance, and you laugh, and you play with life. You play with your life. You start to design it in a way that feels good and feels harmonious for you, but also for the world, for the larger system. If you look at nature, look at trees, there's so much happening, but somehow there's flow, right? And there's many different branches, many different animals, but somehow they're all just flowing and like in this beautiful state of ease and flow, right? It's only for the untrained mind, and how grateful we should be that we have access to mind and we have access to develop this faculty that the rest of nature doesn't necessarily have, this conscious awareness of your life. So let's keep calming our minds. Let's keep bringing them to stillness. Not that so that we disappear from life, so that we're fully engaged with life, so that you're not playing it small and staying from the ego, but that you expand to life, to become life, to embody life, right? To embody these beautiful qualities that you know are possible for your life. It begins with a calm, quiet mind, and watch it slowly become your greatest tool, your greatest asset. There's nothing in this life that you can invest in and will give you such rewards as your own calm, quiet mind. And from there, my friend, everything is fair game. Everything is possible. Let me know how this resonates for you. I always love to hear from you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Till the next one.